Do you want to increase your YouTube RPM? Because these 21 strategies actually work, even if your channel's small. It's how I managed to make $24,000 straight away with a brand new YouTube channel. There's a full breakdown to that video linked down below. But first, let's get straight into my list of RPM improvements. Now, for context, RPM is how much money YouTube pays you per 1,000 views. It stands for revenue per mark. Now, I'll explain each of these factors and how you can use them to increase your RPM as we go through the video. Timestamps are in the description down below if you want to skip ahead. So the first one is really quite easy and it takes just seconds. It used to be hidden inside your AdSense settings, but it's now been moved to your YouTube studio under Ad Categories. If you click the Sensitive Categories tab here at the top of the screen, you're presented with a list like this. By default, some of the adult categories like alcohol, gambling, dating and politics are blocked. With them blocked, you're limiting who can bid on your ad space, which quietly suppresses your RPM. I appreciate it might not be for everyone, but enabling these categories opens the door to more competitive bidding and higher earnings, especially in high value niches like business, money or tech. Adult advertisers often have huge budgets, so bear that in mind for later. Now, my ad rates personally doubled on one of the channels that I own when I changed this setting, although I should add the content was in a more sensitive sector. So if you want to increase your RPM, go to your settings, add categories, sensitive categories, and unblock everything. If you change your mind at a later date, you can always reverse it anyway. Now, the next factor impacts every video that you make, no matter the niche. So listen in. The meta that you use really matters. Your title, description, and tags work together, but not in the way that you might think. Don't try and trick the system here, work with it. Make sure that they align, as it's one of the first things that YouTube's advertising system looks at. Advertisers don't just target channels, they target specific keywords and phrases. So when your metadata closely aligns with the target preferences, you get more relevant ads faster, and then in turn higher bids, which means better RPM. Before ideation, it's a good idea to ask, what phrases are advertisers bidding on in this sector? Then naturally weave them high value terms into your metadata intentionally. It's a great idea if the content fits. So your metadata helps attract the right advertisers. But the next factor is all about keeping them, and it happens the moment your video starts playing. Viewer intent and behavioral patterns is why education focused content earns so much more than pure entertainment. Think about it. Who's on the other end and why? Advertisers care about outcomes. Viewers who are actively looking to learn or solve a problem, like how to set up an email marketing campaign or best CRM tools. They're way more likely to take action after seeing an advert, and the end result is higher ad spend and increased RPMs. If you compare that to someone watching a pranks compilation, they're looking for entertainment. They've got totally different intentions. And here's an example from one of my own channels. The entertainment-based video got $4.18 RPM, whereas the educational video got $23.82. It's a huge difference, particularly when it's multiplied by millions of views. Now, I'm not saying that you ditch your entertainment channel, but even within your niche, you can shift the framing. Instead of something like, I started a business with $1,000, try how to start a business with $1,000. Essentially, it's exactly the same video, but framed with more intent. And as a result, the RPMs just increase naturally. So intent affects who clicks on your video, but what happens inside the video plays a huge role too. And that brings us on to the next point on my list. YouTube's ad system doesn't just look at your title and tags, it listens, reads, and watches everything inside your video too. The words in your script and the visuals in the edit also matter. If you get large views, this point is particularly effective. The data that's gathered from video content is fed into Google's ad platform, which then decides which advertisers your video is eligible for. So if you're using keywords like business strategy or email software or CRM tools, and then backing that with the relevant visuals, ad placements become a lot more effective. Now, I won't drop names, but some of the platform's biggest creators have done a huge amount of analysis in this particular area, and it really matters. So, similar to the point about metadata, make your scripting intentional. Don't keyword stuff, but naturally include industry relevant phrases and imagery. For example, if your video is about cooking utensils, include terms like the best cooking utensils and then reinforce it with B-roll that actually shows them and the brand names that make them. Not only will this help YouTube's algorithm understand your video, but it'll enhance your RPM. So now that YouTube understands what your content's about, let's talk about who you're reaching, because not all viewers are valued the same. Now, this point is absolutely crucial if you want to increase your RPMs. It's one of the biggest influencing factors, viewer demographics, specifically age, income, and profession. Older, wealthier audiences attract significantly higher ad rates, which means more spend and then in turn, more RPM for you. So advertisers don't just want eyeballs, they want buyers. A 40-year-old entrepreneur in the United States is far more valuable than a 17-year-old student in Brazil. Why? Because they have business needs, a lot of buyer intent, and of course, money. Here's a quick comparison between the RPM on two different YouTube videos targeting totally different ages. It's a fair difference, right? Now I'll reveal more in further points, but the takeaway here is really simple. Different viewers bring totally different ad rates. Older viewers means a higher RPM. So if you can, target them deliberately. And by the way, if you're serious about increasing your YouTube income, I share data-backed tips like this in every single video each week. So hit the subscribe button now and avoid missing out on the next strategy upload. Next on my list, let's cover a simple but little known tip. During the upload process, you'll see a screen like this, where YouTube is asking you to self-classify your content. Now, you might think that ticking one of these boxes is a bad thing, but it's not. Simply put, this is a trust test. You're being given a chance to be transparent with YouTube about the content of your video, which in turn may affect your advertising rates. If you consistently rate your videos honestly, it builds trust with the system. However, if you misjudge, you're flagged for manual review and/or your RPMs will be lower. Worst case, videos will be routinely marked for restriction or even no monetization at all. Honestly, it's a nightmare to sort out once you're in that bucket. So just rate the videos accurately, even if it feels overly cautious, because the system then rewards honesty over time and you'll avoid unnecessary monetization bottlenecks. Talking of which, let's move on to method number 7. It's a bit more advanced. Placing additional ad breaks in your video can drastically increase your RPM. However, it's largely misunderstood. So let's go a little bit deeper here. By default, YouTube auto places mid-rolls in videos over 8 minutes in length. But, and this is a big but, it doesn't mean ads will trigger when there is a placement. It just means it's an opportunity to trigger. What actually makes an ad placement trigger is largely dependent on the viewer's behavior. YouTube's mid-roll system places these ad breaks where it thinks breaks should go. Now, recently, YouTube updated and improved their system, although it's still not perfect. When ads are placed after natural pauses or chapter transitions, viewers are more likely to sit through them, which increases ad impressions, watch time, and your RPM. So if you want to increase your RPM, make sure that the mid-rolls are placed where there is a clear pause in the content, and preferably after some kind of payoff. I've experimented this over a long period of time, and it can increase your revenue by 10 to 20% alone. Big channels like Veritasium and Ali Abdul do it all the time. If you haven't got time to script the ad breaks in, scrub through the video manually after it's uploaded to insert some extra mid-rolls, especially if the video is over 12 minutes in length. One well-placed ad is better than 3 disruptive ones. Next, the biggest influence on RPMs you're likely to see. Where your audience lives is the single biggest influence on your RPM. Viewers in tier 1 countries like the United States, UK, Canada and Australia unlock significantly higher ad rates. Why? Because not only are the viewers worth more to advertisers, but more companies advertise on YouTube in those particular countries. If your video is in English and optimized for these regions, your RPM will be so much higher, especially if your topic aligns with their interests. Here's an example from 2 videos on one of my own channels. This particular video targeted Europe, and this video targeted the United States. It's a pretty big difference, right? You can check your audience geography in your YouTube analytics. In advanced mode, you can even break it down by state in some regions. If you're seeing mostly low RPM regions, consider adjusting your content language, titles, or even case studies to better attract viewers from tier 1 countries. A small increase in US and UK viewership can drastically improve your revenue per mile. But there's more, because accuracy is important too. How well does your title and thumbnail match your actual content? Because clickbait and viewers can break your RPM. YouTube's system doesn't just track how many people click, it tracks what they do after they click. If they bounce early, YouTube assumes that the content was low quality or irrelevant, and you've lowered your own RPM almost instantly. Worse still, it will kill your retention and negatively impact your channel's performance too. So when you create titles and thumbnails, don't just aim for clicks, aim for accurate curiosity. A simple exercise is to ask yourself, if I watched this video, would I feel satisfied or misled? Also, keep an eye on the audience retention in the first 30 seconds in your analytics. 80% and above is ideal. Matching expectations and raising viewer satisfaction is crucial. But now, let's talk about the kind of content that attracts high value advertisers and how to make the most of it. How your viewers are watching also drastically affects your YouTube RPM. The biggest advertisers want to be seen on TV. Why? Well, bigger screens, higher impact, group watching, perhaps with a family, and also there's typically longer watch time. Generally speaking, there's more engagement by comparison to mobile views who tend to receive lower bids. Partly because of the screen size, ad blockers, and well, mobile viewers are more easily distracted. I've seen this over and over in my own data. You can check your own data in YouTube Studio's advanced analytics under device type. To attract more desktop and TV viewers, think about how your videos are best optimized. Suggested video chains, video length, and even the thumbnail can be adapted to target different devices. Also, publishing at times when desktop users are more active, like early weekdays, can tilt the balance. Next up, another big hitter that really affects your video's RPM. Your video's subject plays a huge role in determining CPM and in turn RPM. However, this doesn't mean you have to totally change niche. The suggestion is more that you think about how you approach a topic if you want to increase your RPM. Advertisers aren't just buying audience, they're buying targeted context. So like points 3 and 5, if your video is all about high value, conversion friendly topics like investing, insurance or vehicles, you'll attract advertisers with bigger budgets. General Motors marketing and advertising expenses amounted to $3.3 billion last year, with Ford just behind them at 2.8 billion. It's big business, and this is why RPMs are so much higher there. Even on channels like Graham Stephan or Ali Abdul, their highest RPMs come from videos that lean into topics like taxes, tools or investing, not just general advice. So before you start work, run your video's idea through the lens of a potential advertiser. Ask yourself, is this video topic, title and content framed for maximum revenue? You don't need to totally change your video, but a few subtle adjustments to how it's framed can dramatically increase the average RPM. Next up, a crucial but often ignored insight. Much like the device types explained in point 9, traffic sources also affect advertising revenue. Why? Context. Not all traffic is equal. Views coming from search often produce the highest ad rates. Suggested and browse features, that's the YouTube homepage, come next. With search, it's obvious why, because the viewer has a problem that they're trying to solve and seek. Suggested and browse indicated repeat viewership, loyalty, or entertainment. However, if your traffic is coming from being embedded, external sites, or even shorts, your RPM is going to be way lower. Looking at my own channels, I've seen a clear RPM split. Videos with 80% plus of traffic from suggested on the homepage earn 3 to 4 times more than those mostly embedded on other websites. A video shared widely via an email list made me just $2.13 RPM, while a similar one surfaced through suggested made $14 RPM, and they both had nearly identical retention. To check your own data, go to YouTube Studio, Analytics, Advanced, and then select traffic sources. To increase your average RPM, focus on packaging your content so that YouTube wants to promote it. Simple, clear and effective is best, both with your title and thumbnail, but be careful because the wrong packaging can totally trash your revenue. Point 13 explains why. There's often a lot of talk about content safety, but not with a lot of clarity. It's in YouTube's terms if you want to go deeper, but avoiding profanity, controversy and risky subjects protects your monetization. Advertisers just don't want to appear and they don't want their branding to be next to problematic content. If your video includes excessive swearing, graphic themes, political controversy or even mild innuendos, it may get flagged as limited or not suitable at all for all advertisers. If it doesn't kill your RPM entirely, it will drastically reduce it at the very least. The best tip I can give you here is extremely simple. Just totally avoid these things. It's not worth it. Now I'll keep the next one brief as you probably already have a functioning channel, but it's good to know either way. At the top level, your overall channel direction sets precedent for your RPM. Business, finance, tech and B2B content typically earns much higher RPM than general entertainment content. YouTube's algorithm learns very quickly what your channel is actually about and by extension what adverts to test on your videos. So again, the suggestion isn't that you change up the entire channel, but if you can, get tactical about the content plan going forward. You can bring up your average ad rates quite easily. It's about repeat viewership that your content attracts. So now that we've talked about your channel's theme, let's talk about size because it really does matter. Hitting 8 minutes or more unlocks mid-roll ads, as I mentioned earlier, which can significantly increase your RPM. Now, placing extra ad slots throughout the content means more ads per view. Think of it like this. A 7-minute video might earn $4 per 1,000 views from the adverts shown at the beginning. So what if the content was 8 minutes long? What if there was 3 mid-rolls placed in the video? You guessed it, increased revenue per 1,000 views. Here are 2 videos from one of my own channels, same format, topic and positioning, but one of them is significantly longer. Now I should add here, you don't want to fill your video with excess padding. You want to get strategic about the content length. How can you maximize watch time and retain viewers and increase the overall value offering? Also, when placing mid-rolls, do it manually. YouTube's auto placement can insert ads in weird spots that sometimes break the flow of the video and hurt your viewer satisfaction. But even the best placed ads won't help if no one sticks around to see them, which is why your retention and watch time is just as critical. As with the previous point, the longer people watch, the more ads YouTube can serve and the more you can earn per view. YouTube's algorithm is designed to maximize watch time, not just views, but long content alone won't solve it. When your videos hold attention, YouTube rewards that by servicing them more and serving more ads per session. This is what you need for maximum RPMs. YouTube's advertisers want their ads in videos where people stay, not where they bounce after 30 seconds. To prove this, I once run a test via a faceless channel I own where one video had a 40% retention rate and earned $5.22 RPM, another had an average view percentage of 65% where the RPM was $8.12. How long people watched was the main difference as it was on the same channel with a similar topic, and it makes sense. More watch time means more chances to show those mid-rolls and higher priority in the algorithm, which means higher advertiser demand. It's the jackpot. So always audit your drop-off points, use YouTube's retention graph to spot where people lose interest, and then fix that in your next video. Even small tweaks to pacing, visuals, or voiceover energy can boost your average watch time by 10 to 15%, which then compounds over thousands of views. Now, we're getting a bit more advanced here because there are some rather obvious but seemingly hidden factors at play too. Most people only notice the next one once they've achieved massive views. RPMs are not static. They fluctuate massively throughout the year, but I'm not just talking about Q4. For those who are unaware, advertiser budgets surge during the final quarter of the year because think Black Friday, Christmas and New Year. Brands are spending aggressively to hit revenue targets, and that pushes up ad bids and in turn your RPM way up. This is why creators like Eric and Mr. Beast release more content in December. The best tip I can give you here is plan your bangers for Q4. Build a backlog up before October and then publish your highest value videos between October 15th and December 15th. If you want to sell a product, launch alongside this window too. It's where views and buyer intent collide. But, and this is important, it varies a lot depending on your sector, which leads me nicely onto my tip number 18. Advertisers don't spend evenly all year round. Their spending rises and then falls based on budget resets, campaign launches and fiscal cycles, and this directly affects your RPM. Each niche has its own rhythm. For example, if you have a channel about Easter eggs, your highest RPMs are almost definitely going to be around Easter, because that's when the perfect advertisers are spending most aggressively. So think outside of the box here. The same views are worth more during certain periods. When those periods are is relevant to your channel and what your content is about. So study analytics year over year, identify which months brought the highest RPM for each content type, and then reverse engineer your upload schedule around when the advertisers are throwing about the most money at your niche. Now, number 19 is simple to understand. When viewers come back to your channel regularly, your RPMs rise. It's because returning viewers trust you more and engage more, which makes them more valuable to advertisers. New viewers might bounce, but returning viewers, they stick around, click ads and then convert. That increased trust and watch time improves your video's ad performance, and RPM follows quickly after. On my biggest channel, videos that attract a high percentage of returning viewers consistently outperform viral videos that reach a broad new audience. One video with 35% returning viewers earned double the amount of RPM that another with just 7% returning. The difference wasn't just who watched, it was who came back. So to increase your RPM, you want your content to build habits. A consistent cycle, format, or publishing day trains viewers to return. Subtle hooks in your content or via your community wall, like next week I'll be breaking this down deeper, helps boost that return rate. Now, speaking of consistency, let's talk about one of the biggest long-term RPM levers: how active your channel is and how often you publish. Staying active and uploading content consistently helps keep your content in YouTube's ad rotation, which directly impacts your RPM. Advertisers want predictability. An active channel signals that you're a reliable content partner. YouTube's system also favors regularly publishing creators by keeping your videos in circulation longer. More uploads, more inventory for ads, more revenue opportunity. When you go quiet, you lose momentum and priority. On one of my older channels, I ran a 4-month break between uploads. RPM didn't just drop, it plummeted. My average rate fell by 30%, even though the new video had solid content. So for clarity, you don't need to post daily, just reliably. For your niche and workflow, that might be once per week or bi-weekly. What matters is training both your audience and the algorithm to expect your content. But frequency alone isn't enough. There's one hidden factor that helps your content reach a global audience and potentially boost revenue. Let's cover that next. Adding accurate captions can increase revenue by broadening your content's monetization reach. Now, this isn't a direct RPM play across the board, but subtitles in multiple languages can attract higher value international traffic. Adding Spanish and German subtitles to a well-performing video can improve its reach and revenue. The views might spike, or they might not, but there's more quality traffic for advertisers to be featured on. Start by uploading accurate English captions, then test auto-translating to languages like Spanish and German. CPMs are increasing all the time in these areas. So to finish up on a banger example, if you want massive RPMs, you want to make videos like this. An 11-hour property investing course made for affluent 35 to 55-year-olds in tier 1 countries is 100% ad safe and perfectly structured for mid-rolls. It hits just about every single lever we've just covered. I've no idea what the actual RPM is, although it's likely to be well over $200. Now that you know how to earn more per view, the next step is understanding how YouTube's algorithm really works. So watch this video next to see exactly how to make it send you more of the right viewers.